There are places you expect to feel something, and then there are places that meet you halfway, quiet, patient, until you're ready to feel it. We didn't even plan to be here yet. That morning was supposed to belong to the Smithsonian. Museums, exhibits, carefully mapped out stops. But Maggie, our ever-questionable GPS, had other ideas. She spun us in circles through the streets of Washington, D.C. like Murph had slipped into the passenger seat and taken the wheel. And somehow, we ended up here instead. Parking near the National Mall, staring out at open sky and distant monuments. So we made a decision. Simple, unplanned, and exactly right. We'd walk it. All of it. 3 miles around the National Mall and the tidal basin, step by step, monument by monument, letting the day unfold instead of forcing it. And somewhere along that walk, we found him. The Lincoln Memorial. You know this place. Even if you've never been, you've seen it. It lives in textbooks, movies, history lessons. A temple of white stone, rising steady and still at the edge of a reflecting pool. But standing there in person, it doesn't feel like a monument. It feels like a pause. We crossed the street slowly, the noise of the city falling behind us. I stopped on the sidewalk before the steps just for a moment to take it in. The columns, the symmetry, the quiet gravity of it all. It was beautiful. Not flashy, not loud, just certain. And beside me, my son didn't hesitate. He took off up the steps like they were nothing. Light, effortless. The kind of energy that only exists before you fully understand the weight of the place. And I followed, carrying a little more than just my camera, because the day before we had stood inside Ford's Theater and inside the Petersen House. We had walked through the final hours of Abraham Lincoln's life. We had seen the room where history changed, and now we were here. The truth is, this place almost didn't exist at all. After Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the country was desperate for something, anything, that could hold it together. A symbol, a memory, a way forward. Plans for a memorial began almost immediately. But the first idea, it wasn't this, not even close. The original proposal was a towering, almost chaotic structure, layered with dozens of statues, war scenes, and figures, like a massive, patriotic wedding cake reaching toward the sky. At the very top, a statue of Lincoln writing the Emancipation Proclamation. It was ambitious, it was expensive, and it never happened. Funding collapsed, political support faded, and just like that, the vision disappeared. For decades, the idea of a national memorial sat quietly, waiting. It took nearly 50 years and more political fights than anyone could count to bring it back to life. The biggest obstacle? Not money, not design, but location. The land chosen for the memorial was considered a swamp, muddy, unstable, unworthy of something so important. One powerful voice in Washington refused to allow it. He reportedly said he'd never let Lincoln be uttered in that swamp. And for years, he won. Plans stalled. Proposals failed. Ideas ranged from log cabins to highways to completely different locations. The memorial we know today, it survived because someone finally pushed through the noise, because the idea refused to die. When the design was finally approved, everything changed. Instead of something grand and cluttered, architect Henry Bacon chose something timeless, a Greek temple. Inspired by the Parthenon, because Lincoln, in his own way, had defended the idea of democracy itself. Inside, the statue wasn't meant to be as massive as it is now. But once the space was built, they realized something. Lincoln couldn't be small, so they made him larger. 19 feet tall. Carved from marble, assembled piece by piece, until he sat there, forever watching. And when we reached the top of those steps, I understood why. There's a moment, just before you step inside, where everything shifts. The light softens, the noise fades, and the world slows down. My son reached the top first. I watched him turn, just slightly, the way people do when they realize they've arrived somewhere important, even if they don't fully know why yet. And then I stepped inside. Lincoln doesn't look at you, not directly. He looks past you, through you, like he's carrying the weight of a country that wasn't finished becoming what it promised to be. And maybe that's the point, because this place didn't stay in the past. In 1939, a singer named Marian Anderson stood on these steps after being denied a stage because of her race. 75,000 people gathered to hear her voice, and something shifted. Then in 1963, those same steps held 250,000 people, and a man stood here and spoke about a dream that still echoes in this space, even now. Standing there with my son beside me, I realized something. The Lincoln Memorial isn't just about Lincoln. It's about what comes after, the work that continues, the promises we're still trying to keep. We didn't plan to start our day here, but maybe we were supposed to, because sometimes the wrong turn is just a better story waiting to happen. And if you've ever stood here, or if there's a place that surprised you like this one did, tell me about it in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the stories behind the places we think we know, stick around. There are a lot more reads to follow.